Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of the All Systems Go podcast, where we continually invite digital marketers and startup founders to talk about software and strategies that scale. I'm your host, Chris L. Davis, the founder of Automation Bridge, and we have a second guest appearance. She is no stranger, and she has come back with some what I call hardware. Okay, it's like a championship belt. Okay, you come back with some credentials behind her name. What do they say? They say, put some respect on my name. She's got more of that. And it is Kronda, the founder of Karvel Digital, Kronda Adair. And if you're not familiar, let me just run it back because she's been on the podcast. I have to grab the episode while we're recording, Kronda. But she at Karvel Digital, they are focused on helping mission-driven service-based businesses use their content to sell their services so they can scale without burning out in the process. Many of you are burnt out right now smoking, listening to this podcast. So you've got some relief here. And another thing is they provide help with organizing your content through marketing intensive VIP days. This is a more polished offer that the first time on the podcast, Karanda didn't have, and they help you craft your strategy to deploy your content to the right people at the right time, so your prospects can show up ready to buy from you. And let's not forget there's going to be a theme here of growth. Anytime anytime you hear Karanda, I want you to know that I'm thinking of at least two things: growth, growth, resourcefulness, and we're going to add one today is how to keep community members, whether they're yours or someone else's, in check for their own good, everybody, for their own good. We all know how we can get online sometimes and running a business. You just want to do what you want to do, go by your rules, look for the fastest solution and the easiest, cheapest software, and we're here to talk about that. We're here to put some of you on blast in love, and just get you on the right path to growth because Karanda started out making $500 websites. $500
It's
websites,
true.
and here we are today. We'll talk about where you are today. Karanda, welcome to the podcast. How are you
Thank you
doing?
so much. I'm so happy to be back, and I think I was your first guest, and so now I'm the
Yes,
first guest to appear twice, and I just want to keep these good trends rolling.
absolutely, absolutely. Got to keep them rolling. And before Karanda, you've always been polished. Let me say that you've always been polished, and I feel like you've always been decorated. Whether you led with that or not, I feel like there's always been a seasoning to you, right? Your approach to business, and there's a no nonsense. Like, look, are we doing this or what? Even to yourself, because I remember when you first reached out to me via email, you would listen to a few podcasts and you were just kind of asking like, hey, what's this thing, do you got anything else? And I was just responding, and at some point it felt like you were just like, you know what, no, I'm doing it. Nope, I'm going.
That is, yeah, that is exactly how it happens. It's like I just decide, and then we're going.
Yes, yes. So one of the big decisions since you were on the podcast was deciding to get certified. Everybody, if you don't know, here at Automation Bridge, we run a certification program to ensure that we're properly vetting and giving the badge to only the cream of the crop that you can entrust with your business's marketing and sales processes. Karanda has that badge and wears it proudly. And I just wanted to talk for a little bit about your decision into becoming certified, and what you're looking to do with that. And the reason being, Karanda, is I see a lot of marketing to marketers is very hard, extremely
Mhm.
hard. And I see a lot of marketers that feel like they've already got it figured out, or they're figuring out and don't mind going the slow to no path.
Mhm.
you know so just talk about why you abort that path consistently, and what was some of the reasoning in being that you had in getting certified.
I mean, I feel like once I was in your orbit, like then going that next step was a no-brainer. And
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not, I was around in the days of digital marketer, when everybody was like going through digital marketer courses and slapping those badges on their websites, um and that's fine, but like this is not, and I tell people all the time, like I'm not a person who needs certifications to feel
Mhm.
validated. Like I'm
Mhm.
not, I'll show up and I'll be like, here's what I can do for you, and either you want it or you don't. But I knew that any certification that you were going to create was not going to just be a badge that you slap on your website. And you can't, there's no amount of money that you're going to take from somebody and be like, okay, here you go. Here's a badge. Like you have to show up
Yeah.
consistently for a long time, do the work, and then you have to pass the actual certification, which is no joke. Like when I graduated from the Art Institute, I had those yellow cords, and I was like, I want to wear, like, I worked so hard for these. Can I wear these like forever?
You're
Would it
right.
be weird if I just wore them to the coffee shop tomorrow? That's how I feel about this. Like, where's our t shirts? Like, so everybody can know that I went through this gauntlet, because it's
Yes.
serious. It's serious. And like those of us who were going through it, we were like, we're texting and we're like, just giving each other emotional support. Like, no, you can do it. Like, keep going. So I want you to know it's no joke. Like, it's serious. And you're not going to come out of this without having real skills,
Yeah.
real skills, and not just skills, but the continual backing of the community. Because I
Yes.
had a conversation just this week with somebody who was about to just totally botch, a project for their client because they really just were in over their head. And I have been that
Mhm.
person. And if
Mm.
you don't have a mentor, you don't have community or somebody to hold you up and take you aside and say, you know what, let me just steer you around here and like keep you out of trouble, like it's not good. And so it's not just the badge, it's not just the skills, it's the continual, getting together every week and be like, what's everybody working on? What are you doing? What do you need? I think I
Yes.
literally last week was like, I need the hive mind on this thing.
Yeah, yeah, you did, yep, on our office hours call. I have to say, it's hilarious hearing you say it because of course, it was all intentional. I've become a hybrid of experience. When I got certified in Infusionsoft, that's now Keep, I really enjoyed their process. You had to fly there, you were on site, and they truly did test your knowledge, right? And then, you had the other extreme when I was at Active Campaign, you could pretty much buy the certification, right? If you had $1,500 in the bank and could show up on a Zoom call and smile and maybe just be nice via email, you could essentially be certified. So but Active Campaign was very much well respected, right? Like people looked at that badge and they said, "Oh wow, this is why like
Hmm.
this means something." Same with Infusionsoft Keep Now. At the time, so I wanted to make sure that it truly tested your metal, but nowhere near as easy as
Hmm.
Active Campaign. And this is important that we're talking about this openly, publicly, everybody, because these are the people that you're supposed to hire. You're supposed to be listening to this episode thinking about, oh my gosh, this is the solution to my problem. And you reach out to Karanda and you would experience her in an expert capacity that you're not going to find on Fiverr. You're not going to find reaching out in Facebook groups, things of that nature. So, and then lastly, I'll say you did the work, Karanda. Like you showed up, your submissions were great. I mean, well thought out. I'm not an official professor, you know, but I feel like professors have that level of proud when their students show up and really do the work. So I
Hmm.
commend you on that.
Thank you.
And every you earned every single ounce of it. If there's a weight to the badge, if there's a digital weight, you've earned it all.
Well, and I want to say this too, because there are so many horror stories of people who wasted their money.
Yeah.
They thought that they hired somebody who could do what they said and then found out the hard way. Like that is just going, as we're talking now, somebody is experiencing that. And
Mhm.
so there are no guarantees in life, but every single person who is certified and in that directory is either going to show up and serve to the best of our ability, or we're going to say, you know what, that's not my lane. Let me try to
Yeah.
connect you, you
Yep.
know?
Yep. And
Like I
another
know my lane.
right. Yes. And another thing is we all mastermind. So you're never on an island. So even if you had a question, your client was saying something, or hey, maybe I'm not seeing this the right way. Can you guys look over this? Right? We all put our minds together. So you have such an amazing force behind you when you hire a certified automation service provider. And I love it. But I need to give you some more flowers here, Karanda.
I'll take
Well,
it.
one of the things that I experienced with you in the beginning, and I continue to experience with you, is your A, resourcefulness, and then B, commitment to growth. Since you've been in my program, I can count at least 5 other programs that you have enrolled in for yourself or your team. Just tell people I need marketers to get this, because marketers are the one out here messing it up. It's not the CEOs and the founders' responsibility to know everything about marketing. They're always going to have blind spots. It's these marketers with this extreme imposter syndrome and just won't commit. They want to nickel and dime their way to success and won't
Mhm.
commit to invest in a way that will guarantee the growth that they need to show up how their clients need them to show up. It's never been a problem. What is that? And just talk about some of the fruits of that labor of always being willing to invest in the next thing for your growth.
I don't even know where that comes from other than I don't have a plan B. Like
Mhm.
this is it. And even, someone once asked me like, what would you do if your business failed? Well, I would start another one because I have all these
Mm,
skills and, networks and all the things you get. I always say that business is a personal growth program, and the more you grow, the more you earn. And
mm,
so, I remember back to the first time I just joined the mentorship community. I had just started back doing insourced, which is our done for you services. Before that, I was just doing content boot camp. I had burnt out, right? Just like a lot of you out there, I had burnt out. I was like, I'm not even going to do this anymore. I'm just going to coach, know. And slowly my clients were like, "Oh, we need help with this. We need help with this." And I'm like, "Okay, what can I create?" And so I created this in-source program, retainer based, simple, here's like all the things I saw people struggling with. We put it in there. And it was right after that that I joined the mentorship program. And immediately, Chris, like all I did was log in and start consuming like just a few of the lessons. And I was like, wow, I just like head and shoulders raised what I'm able to do for my very first in-source client because of the information that you're sharing inside this program.
mhm.
And it is mind boggling to me that people want to grow their business. They want to get high ticket clients. They want people to invest in them, and they're not willing to show up and invest in themselves and invest in their skills and invest in the networks that they need to grow. Like, I don't understand it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate, and I see it, and it does. It saddens my heart. And listen, everybody, this is not limited to entrepreneurs. When I was working at a startup, I was investing in my own personal growth and development, paying for masterminds. Karanda, I don't know if I shared this publicly, but I paid $15,000 for a mastermind when I was still at a startup working as a full-time employee. Like it's those things that nobody sees those receipts, but you experience the result of it.
Mhm.
And when you've done it, when you've put your cash there, c- just just affirm the digital marketer listening. It's not always going to be a comfortable investment, and you may not always have the money for you may, quote unquote money for it that you
Mhm.
think. How do you get past that? You personally?
I I think this is a confidence thing, right? Because when
Mm,
somebody when you come to someone like you, where you clearly have the acumen, you have the experience, like you have created undeniable results for companies that, if you're in marketing, the names of all these companies, right?
mhm.
There's no way people are coming to you and saying, "Well, I don't know if Chris is really the deal." Right? That's
Right.
not that's not a question. So then it has to be then what is it internally
Mm,
inside of you that doubts whether you can actually take advantage of this opportunity. And
mm,
that is really what it comes down to. And I have never had a problem betting on myself. I'm
yeah.
like, I'm going to go in and I'm going to take this opportunity and I'm either going to win or I'm going to learn, but something is still going to come out of it. And so I think it's a muscle that you build.
Yeah.
Um, and I see it all the time because, as now I have this certification, right? And my prices have, reflected the quality of service
Yep.
that we're offering.
Absolutely.
And so I see it all the time in clients that like they come and they just need it. They need what we have. And sometimes like their business might depend on it in some, like
Yeah.
they it doesn't depend on us necessarily, but if they don't solve this problem, like, they're endangering their business.
Yep.
And they struggle cuz it's like, "Oh, I wasn't expecting that investment." I'm like, well, you've been duct taping your business together for however many years, and you just thought you were
Mhm.
going to pay like $10,000 and then we're going to solve, like, no.
Yep.
So people have to get creative. And, I work with a lot of women business owners, almost exclusively, a lot of women of color.
Mhm.
And I think in general, like women owned businesses are so under resourced. And so it is harder
Yeah.
to figure that out and get creative, but it also can be done. And I've been doing it. And so I only have so much sympathy for people who just want to make excuses and say, like, oh, well, I don't have the money. It can't be done. It's like,
Mhm.
you don't have the money right now, but are you going to get creative? Are you going to get resourceful? Like, how badly do you want this? Because that's
Yeah.
what I've always had to do. And most of my clients have more money, more privilege, more access, more whatever than I do. And so I'm just like, okay, we'll figure it out and come back when you're ready.
Yeah. Yeah. So good. So good. And I feel like that you're the perfect messenger for your clients, right? Because it's different if I'm telling you, hey, look, don't worry about it, underfunded and underserved woman. You can do it, right? And like maybe that's that's encouraging, and they trust me and all of that. But coming from you, it's gonna hit different. It's good. You're look, I've got the scars, I've got the receipts for this. I've gone through it. So there's no nonsense that you hear come out of me at times. That's not me trying to be rough and tough. Like I'm trying to get you there. And you
Yeah.
simply the path that you're going on simply is not going to do that, and I just wanna course correct.
Yeah.
That's it.
Exactly. Yeah, just trying. I've learned the hard way though not to try to save people. I'm like, here it is. Here's the path.
Yep, yep.
you
Yeah,
know?
you present it, right?
Yeah, and then you got to let them do what they're going to do.
Yeah, and I wanna, continue down the I've got quite a few more flowers to give, but, I've had the privilege of knowing some of the clients that you work with, either before working with you or during, and they've reached out to me. And they all have raving reviews. And in fact, even if you just go through your community, you'll see people always posting, "Oh my gosh, Karan," like you're kind of a big deal, right? We can say this. I just want to give though, because I want that service-based, mission-driven female entrepreneur to hear this and be able to connect the dots. When you're sitting down working with them, you've talked so many times in our office hours about the aha moments and the, "Oh my goodness, it's finally working." Just share, one or two of those with the audience so they can see like, oh yeah, this is what I was missing. From as simple as I'm trying to let you talk, Kronda, but there's so much from something as simple as the pot of gold, because it,
Oh
it
yeah.
truly it truly is gold, to whatever you want to share with you coming in, organizing, structuring, just getting things together. Um, Let them hear from the horse's mouth what to expect.
So I thank you for bringing up pot of gold because that's just like my baby. I feel
Yeah.
like it's the tool that really started me on the trajectory that I'm on right now. And
Mhm.
so it's an Airtable base. We love Airtable around here,
Yes,
and
we
it
do.
just helps people organize their content, such that you can find it, you can repurpose it, you can stop like having everything scattered everywhere. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but once people, what happens a lot is people buy it and then they sit on it, and then something happens. Usually they'll join boot camp or something happens, they give it to a team member, they implement it, and the first time that you're like, "Oh, I need to find this thing." And instead of going and spending, 15, 20 minutes in your Google Drive or searching your own website, you're like, "Oh, yeah, I put it in here." And you go and it takes you like 20 seconds to find it.
Mhm.
I feel like when people have that experience, then it just unlocks all the power and then they're like, "Okay, they're off to the races." So a lot of people have had that experience. Um, it's a good time for you to ask me this because I've been doing a lot of client interviews, and we've been live streaming this. So you can go on our YouTube channel and
Ooh,
you can
nice.
hear from the horse's mouth, right? But one of my clients that I'm so proud of is Carrie Ryan from Dog Adventures, because she came to me having built a successful business, no question, but really realized she didn't really know anything about marketing, and somebody had come to her with an opportunity to like put an ad in a magazine, and she's like, I don't have no idea how to make this decision. So she like jumped into boot camp, and just knocked everything out of the park and then went straight from boot camp into insource. So we did that training of, teaching her how to create content. And I mean, she's in the pet industry, like if you can't create engaging content about dogs, but she had to learn how to do that in a way. She was trying to like teach people everything over email. I'm like, no,
Mm,
no, no, that's not what that's not what we're trying to do. So she really learned that. And then, we redid her website. We just relaunched her email marketing. So she's got a whole new level of marketing automation. And she came full circle from, typical sort of 60, 70-hour weeks, just trying to like figure out how to get the business to run, to now she's back to actually doing what she started the business to do, which is take
mm,
dogs out on adventure hikes. So she's now going out twice a week and taking dogs on hikes. But as we record this, she's in Italy for a month. She
love
like
it.
found somebody to, run the day to day of the business. And like that is literally everything that I ever started this business for, was to take somebody through that journey.
Yeah, 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 the gift that gives. And I'll say this, we've seen it. We've seen the back end, all the hard work, all of the meticulous thinking, brain hours that you put into it. So, well, definitely well achieved and well deserved. And just if there's an expectation to set, I never promise immediate results. If we get it, it's like a super bonus. Like when I say super, I mean super bonus, because quick results can always give you a false positive. And if you're the right person at the right time, doing the right thing that didn't work 100 times prior, and it worked that one time with this client, and you don't have a track record. But talk a bit about the time to results and how you approach and manage that initial client relationship to help them stay engaged and stay focused on the path.
Yeah, I think I feel like I've gotten lucky, and I've also gotten better at discerning, right? Who are the clients who have that fortitude, because it does take time. Good work is not quick, right? And when we're
Mhm.
talking about growing these systems. And so I've had clients like Adriana was my first in-source client. We worked together probably, through boot camp, through in-source for probably about 18 months to really set up a foundation for her. And it wasn't that she was making money hand over fist, to make these investments, but she just understood the importance of it. And I tagged her in an Instagram the other day, and she was like, "Oh, let me tell you this story of how, she was about to go to Squarespace." And I was like, "No, no, 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 not on my watch. We're not doing that." And so we started down this path, and now she has this product, massage in a box. It's like the Chinese
Mm.
cups that you can get, and she has a cannabis version. And you can't sell cannabis products on Wix, Squarespace, Weebly, any of those
Ooh, that's
things.
good to
So if she
know.
did not own her own website and have control of those assets, she wouldn't be able to do that. But because she made that investment and had that vision, she can do whatever
Wow.
she wants. And I continually hear from clients, even clients, 4, 5, 6, 7 years back, that they're like, oh, this foundation that we invested in continues to pay dividends. Lost Coast Adventures, like even if it's like really small business owners that are just like, oh, I can change my branding if I want to. I can go and create my own pages. I'm not locked into this thing that's custom developed that I'm afraid of breaking. So
Mm.
I'm really, really proud of the fact that like long term my clients, when I talk to them, they're like, yep, still paying dividends, still reaping the benefits from this.
Yeah, and this is a natural segue into the next topic that I wanted to talk about. And it's in love, everyone, in love, but it's keeping people in check, right? Just as I'm listening to you, I'm hearing how you're navigating this technological terrain. You see somebody about to step on a landmine. Well, here we go, going to Wix, and you're like, wait a minute, do not. They literally have no clue, right? It's just like, go could you imagine going through the desert? Soldiers are all ready for war, and they know that there's landmines, and here they are with a beach towel and an umbrella just looking for lottie dottie dot. You're like, no, this is serious business, picking out technology. You don't just go and say, oh, pretty website. So along with technology becomes is also strategy and process that a lot of business owners are just oblivious to. So you're actually one of my favorite commenters in your own community as well as others, because you have a hey, focus on this only. Nope, don't talk about anything else. It reminds me of like my kids. Like, look, I know you see the cookie, you're not getting the cookie till you eat what's in front. I throw a fit all you want to, go try to get your auntie, go try to get somebody else to get you this cookie. You're not getting the cookie until you do this step. Talk about the importance, because people need to hear this. Talk about the importance of following direction from proven minds that know what they're doing, right?
Yeah. And the thing is, whenever you hire someone who has expertise, it's not that it should be this relationship where it's like, you have to do what I say because I said so.
Mhm.
There are reasons why we are telling you, do this, don't do that. Right? It's because the years of experience we've seen, the people who go down this path, these are the problems they experience. These are the results they don't experience. Like
Yeah.
there's a reason. And so, if people have questions about that, I'm always happy to say, look, this is why, right? And that's why I have so much content. It's like, you know, you're not the first to go down this path, and here's what you can expect, and
Yeah.
if you happen to get lucky and skirt it, it's just because you got lucky, but most people are going to run to this problem. And so when I
Mhm.
talk to people, and I'm not talking about people with just like hobby businesses or whatever, like,
Yeah.
people who want to have real businesses, grow teams,
Yeah.
they're relying on this to feed their family, and they want to talk about using these toy products, to grow their business. I have to intervene. And, again, it's like you're in control of your final decision. All I can do is put this information in front of you and say, here's what I have for you to help you navigate this and get to
Yeah.
where you're going quicker.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say this, Karanda is a voice that I would highly recommend you listen to. She's even resourceful to me. So I'm not saying this as, hey, you guys go listen. I got it. No, I listen to Karanda, everybody. I listen.
I've stolen so many of your evenings. I'll be like,
Yes.
"Oh, did you know
Yes.
this was doing this now? Did you check out this software?" And then you're like, "Ah, I was gonna go watch Netflix, but now I
Yeah.
gotta go check out this tool."
Yeah, I'm on
Yeah.
YouTube and on a new sign up. So
Well, and
yes,
the other thing is like you have to just continually bring people back to the basics, right? That's
yeah,
something that you do for us as a community, and it's something that I try to do for my clients. There's always a section of boot camp that I call the herding cats, section where people, they've started off strong and then the distractions start to come in. And I think
yeah,
it's very common for entrepreneurs. It's like see the shiny object and want to go off. And I'm like, well, have you tried just, asking for referrals? Have you tried taking those testimonials and putting them where someone could see it? Like,
Yep.
just like the back to
Yeah.
basics. And I think we all have to be reminded to do that. So that's what I try to do.
I love it. You'll hear. I don't know if you all are listening. In between the words, there's all kind of wisdom just seeking out of Karanda. But you definitely want to, whenever you're looking for someone, and if you haven't listened to the previous episode on how to find the right people, make sure you listen to that one as well. But you have to understand that the basics are there to help you. And if you just get really good at the basics, I get it. Oh, we could send an email once a tag is applied, once they click a link, but then land on a page and do a certain action, we could then go through Airtable and then API Zapier. I get it. You all of this stuff is you're right. It can be done. And if there's anybody doing it, trust me, you're looking at two people that have probably set up every version of Zaps that you can envision, but you can't beat the basics. You just can't. You can't beat the basics of marketing.
I just talked one of my clients out of a funnel project.
Mm,
She came through boot camp and we did a marketing intensive and we set up some, we upgraded her email marketing automation, and she wanted to go straight into, I want to build an evergreen funnel. And she was really stressing about the investment though, because I'm like, well,
mhm.
that's that's a serious thing with a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
And she was stressing. And I said, you know what? This might not be the right thing for you to do right now. Why don't you go back to the basics and just focus on selling what you have? Right? You have
Mm,
plenty of structure in place to be able to just go sell your thing for this relatively new offer, and it's like, why don't you go find your people, find your audience, find your groove, like sell this thing, get some revenue. A funnel will always be there later, but
yeah.
most people don't need that. They don't need all that complexity. They need to actually get the courage to show up and sell. They need to master those big three: the offer, the audience, and the messaging.
Mhm.
And like that will take, you can get to 20, 30K a month consistently doing those things
Yeah.
before you ever think about a funnel.
Yeah.
So, as much as I love, putting those things together and talking about technology, like I started boot camp because I was like, I want people to make money. I don't want them to spend their last dollar on a website thinking, oh, that's going to save everything. Nope.
Yeah.
Mastering these processes is what's going to save you.
Yeah. And I appreciate it. And I'm about to talk about your offerings in a minute because you all have heard the word boot camp, in-source, and maybe you don't realize what it is. So we'll break it down. But one thing I want to say is I can't. I've lost count. I've lost count, Karanda, of how many people have spent $30,000 to $50,000 to an agency or a freelancer or marketer and got nothing. And it was all from promising all of this advanced stuff, all of it. And when you have it hurts my heart every single time because you always get the where were you last month? Where were you
Oh,
6 months
yes.
ago? Right.
Here we are, y'all. Here we are.
We're here so you can stop asking the question. Um, but to bring people back to the basics, only those that have been brought to them can really speak to the effectiveness of it. And those who can bring people to the basics and say, hey, look, I know this is shiny. And guess what? You may even be able to brag about this, but we don't need it right now. And just trust me, I'll get you to where you really want to go. It's just not down that shiny road because it's actually slippery down that shiny road too. So if you drive your car down there and you try to stop, it's just gonna keep going. Just trust me, we're gonna go on this gravel dirt. The car will get dirty. We'll have to wash it afterwards. But trust me, you'll get there. Your brakes will work. You'll be able to accelerate all of these things. So yeah, I just wanted to highlight that. So to your product offerings, because these are important. One of the things that you're doing is you have not priced yourself out of the market. You haven't said, which by the way, I don't have a problem with, but you're unique in that way where you're like, look, I understand the plight. So do this first, right? So you've got products at various price points. Talk about bootcamp insourcing and VIP days.
Yeah. So The boot camp really came out of my personal burnout with being a web developer and doing projects
Mm,
for folks that I realized didn't understand marketing. Like I had been spending years at that point learning all these things about digital marketing because the $500 websites were not doing anything for anybody. Right? So then I was like, okay, wait, how do we fix this? So I just got so frustrated with trying to educate the business owners that I was working with, um, so that they could reap the benefits, right, of the project we were working on. And so I just decided it was not like a gentle like fade, like a nice DJ fade. It was like a record scratch. I was like,
mm,
okay, December, I'm done. I'm sunsetting the website business. January, Content Bootcamp is born. And it's a 12-week program, and it's simply exists to help business owners dial in their offer and their audience and their messaging and learn how to talk about it online in a
mm,
way that draws people in. And the reason it's called a boot camp is because, yes, there's some recorded lessons, but it's really there for you to be doing the process. And I've heard you say this, Chris, you can't teach people marketing. You
right,
have to do marketing.
right.
And what I found when I started boot camp is that business owners would come in with a different expectation because they're like, "Oh, she's not going to do it for me. I have to come in here and do this myself." They would go and do what I told them to do. It would be uncomfortable. They would come back and go, "Oh, you were right. That worked." Right? And then after enough of those times, they'd be like, "Oh, this is working and now our technology sucks. Like, can you help us with that?" I'm like, "Oh, now you care about your technology. Okay." So, out of that, instead of just sort of starting to create, website proposals willy-nilly and do these custom things, I really looked at all of the things that all of my clients had struggled with. And it was typical things, they weren't techie. Their websites were on these platforms that weren't going to grow with them, that they didn't have good control over. They were doing just broadcast emails. They didn't have any sort of automation in place, like all of these things. And so I put all of those solutions into insourced, where it's just a retainer based thing. And if it's within this realm of things that that we teach, then we can also do it for you. And so
Mm,
that's how that came along. And then the marketing intensive is just like the doorway that you have to go through, because I'm sure if any web developer listening to this has done the thing where somebody comes to them and they're like, "Oh, we just need these updates or we just need whatever." And then you get in there and it's just like the patient is bleeding out. You thought it was a flesh wound and suddenly it's like, so the marketing intensive is, let's take all your digital clothes out of your closet and let's see what we have. And all we do, Chris, we continually just go through those 6 significant systems, which people can go
mhm.
back into whichever episode it is that you talk about those. That's literally all we do. Is we have a full 4 to 5 hours where we're going, okay, how are you getting traffic? How are you capturing that traffic? How are you presenting your offer? And just the process of taking that space to really go through and think about those things and have to answer those questions to another person,
Yeah.
like, just the process alone is so valuable for the people who do it, because 'cause they're like, "Oh, wait, we don't have any follow-up for this," or, "Oh, people are inquiring about our highest level service and there's no automation, like, they're not getting
Yep.
answers, and, we just lost this 50K of business from these people who inquired 4 months ago," like, and so it just helps to uncover those holes, and then we take all that info and we make it visual, and you know how we love our maps around here,
Oh,
so we take
yeah.
that and we map it out in, something like Whimsical or Miro, where you can actually see, like, oh, somebody opts in here, but oh, we don't have a thank you page. Wait, we could be presenting our offer on the thank you page. Let's put one in. So you literally see all those holes. And then we can say, okay, now we've seen what's going on. We know where you want to go. Here is what you need to make that happen. And you can hire us to do that for you.
Love it. I love it. So everybody, if you need to rewind that and listen to it again, please do so. But these are earned results. And the beauty of earned results is that you just appreciate it that much more. Karanda is not sitting up here telling you, look, we do it all for you. Just sit back. We got it. If that's what you wouldn't even be in business if that's what you wanted. You want some level of achievement. You want someone to come in, help you see what you can't see, help you fill up holes that you didn't know existed, but for some reason your feet keep getting wet every time you go out in the ocean on that boat. Where's the water coming from? Why are my feet always wet? Right? You just need help, everybody, and we understand it. I promise you, I do from experience of seeing it as an employee of a startup and seeing the frustration of the support tickets and being sold by a freelancer or consultant of the company that the software was going to do something magical. There's no magic software out there, everybody. It just doesn't exist. Okay. There you're gonna have some software that you feel really good about buying, and it may work a little bit, but you're going to need more. And that's the importance of having these conversations. This is just, excuse me, this is just a little sample. Kronda, as well as other certified automation service providers, other people going through, other digital marketers going through the automation service provider program. We all have this type of conversation daily, whether it's someone posting in the community or jumping on the weekly office hours that we have. So our swords stay sharp. Our swords stay sharp, everyone. So you want to make sure, and you'll see me continually introducing more and more of our certified partners here at Automation Bridge. But you have to understand the principles that they are exemplifying. Karanda all of her product offerings come from experience. Nothing is just like, pot of gold sounds good, and I like Lucky Charms. So that's what I'll name it, right? Like these are, and guess what, everybody? We use each other's resources. I can read right now about 5 testimonials of people in the community that have purchased the pot of gold and are like, it's the greatest thing ever. I wish I would have had it years ago. So hugely valuable resource in Karanda. I want you all to just listen and be uncomfortable, okay, with the idea of what it's going to take to grow your business to the next level. Karanda, if somebody wants to reach out to you, they heard you, they're excited, they're just ready to go. Where should we send them to get in contact with you?
So you can connect with us at Karvel Digital on, all the usual places, our website, our socials, all those good things. If you hear this and you're like, this is what I've been waiting for, you can apply for Content Bootcamp. You just go to carveldigital.com/apply and tell us what's going on with you, and we can schedule a call and we can talk about that. If you are at a higher level and you're like, oh, I need these systems to be created and, and refined, and you can go to karondafixmymarketing.com,
Mm,
and that will take you over to the special application where you can talk to us about actually getting done for you services, and we can take you through some of these processes, and maybe you can be the next client testimonial live chat, happening in our group.
yes, I love it. So for my avid listeners, you all saw me butcher my URL. I think it was the week before last.
I remember
When
that.
the deliverability, well, I was like delivery, deliver. so listen, did you hear that? Karondafixmymarketing.com. You could go on TV with that one, right? Like you can be on radio, you go anywhere. There's nothing like a great URL. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much for coming back on the podcast, Karanda. I know I don't even have to doubt or wonder. I know our listeners enjoyed this. My hope is that you all will take immediate action. There's no need to wait another day. If Karanda says something that resonates with you, if it's a pain point and you need to go share this with your co-founder, your business partner, your spouse, whomever, do it. Take this episode to them right now. In fact, just pause, go to them and hit rewind and start and let them listen, because this, let us be the mouthpiece that they need, and allow yourself to get out of the way and get out of your own way to get the success that you deserve. So we'll have all of those links that you mentioned, Karanda, in the show notes. Again, can't thank you so much. I've got more flowers, Karanda, but I'll save I'll save them for our office hours. I think everybody on the our listeners, they can probably smell them now. They're probably just like, "Hey, yeah, I was smelling burgers. Now I'm smelling roses for some reason. They're talking about all these flowers." So, thank you, Karanda. Thank you for coming on to the podcast. Greatly
Thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much for having me back. It's always so fun.
Yes, absolutely. And I'll see you in the community.
All right.